Welcome to Live DAF, your online DAF Yomi Shir.
Shalom Aleichem and welcome back to today's DAF Hayomi Maseches GITTEN DAF Nun Daled. We are holding 12 lines from the top of the Amud Tashema. We're picking up where we left off yesterday, right in the middle of a sugya of Hezek She'einu Nikar. One approaches his friend's produce, makes it tamei, or makes it asur. If it's a Hezek She'einu Nikar, it's not a visible physical damage. It's more in the spiritual realms where it becomes affected. So, Minat Torah, the Gemara says, according to Rabbi Yehuda and according to the general consensus of the Gemara, it's not considered a proper damage, which obligates the perpetrator. It's only a knas de Rabbanan. Rabbanan penalize this fellow for instigating this loss upon his friend's property. It's a knas de Rabbanan, which obligates him to pay. Now, according to Rabbi Meir, when we speak about the Rabbanans, Isurim de Rabbanans, or Hezek de Rabbanans, we apply a knas even to Shoigeg, even if he did it by accident, lest he be tempted to do it purposely and pretend that it was just an accident. On that says the Gemara Tashma. We have a kasha on that principle, that when it comes to dinim midrabanan, the knas is applied even to a shaygeg. Achal teruma tmeya. If a non-kohen actually ate truma belonging to a, let's say to a kohen, and it was tamei, truma tmeya, which the kohen of course cannot personally eat. Still, the halacha is, how does one compensate? How does one repay? Mishalem chulin tahirin. You see, when it comes to eating truma b'shoigeg, the form of repayment is by way of actual, produce. You don't pay money; you pay actual produce, which then, once received by the kohen, turns into truma. And that's how it provides kapara. It atones for the violation. So even though he ate truma tmeya, what does he pay? Chulin tahirin. He pays chulin, which is tahir. What happens if shilem chulin tmein? Instead of paying chulin which are tahir, he paid chulin which are tamei. Mahu, what is the halacha? Amar sumchas mishum Rab Meir b'shoigeg. If it was by accident, tashlum of tashlumin, it's a done deal, it's paid. But mezid, if he did it on purpose, ein tashlum of tashlumin, he must repay. So we apply a knas. Now, over here, although minhat Torah, it's considered a proper repayment, because as Rashi explains, when one eats truma b'shoigeg, the chiyuv is to repay the volume. It's not value based; it's volume based. So even though he's giving him, something which is tamei in return, minat Torah, it's a valid payment. Just the Chacham said you can't do that. You have to give him something proper, something edible. So therefore, we apply a knas, but only if it was on purpose, b'mezid. That's Reb Meir's shita. No. Whether it was on purpose or by accident, tashlum of tashlumin, although it's a valid payment min Torah, but he has to pay again. This time, do it right. Now, before we get into these shitas, we had a very simple question on this brisa. What did he eat? Truma, which was tamei. What did he repay? Chulin, which was tamei. So we say if it was b'mezid, if it was on purpose, amai ain't tashlum of tashlumin. It doesn't work. He has to repay. Tavel of bracha. So Zayin get benched. If anything, he deserves a bracha, a blessing, because he's paying more than he consumed. How? What did he eat? Da'achal minei. He ate truma tmeya, which is midi, something deleichazile b'mei temasa, which even the kohen cannot eat when he's tamei. He has to give it to his animal. We use it as fuel. It's basically inedible, almost worthless to the kohen. That's what he took from the kohen. And what is he giving him back? Something much better. He's paying him chulin, although it's tamei, but it's chulin which is tamei, which is still edible. At least when the kohen is tamei, he can eat that chulin tmei. And midi, he's giving him something the chazile b'tmei tumasa, which he can consume when he's tamei. So if anything, he's giving him more than he got. What's wrong with that? V'amar Rav, and Rav answered. V'amar Kedi, some say Kedi answered. Chesur mechzor chiktani. The price is meant to be filled in as follows. We start with achal truma tmeya, the first case. It's just about worthless, and therefore we say you can pay whatever you want. Mishalem koldehu. You can pay chulin tmein as well. But and this was what was missing in the brayso. Achal truma tahira. If he ate proper truma b'shoigeg, then he must ensure that he pays back properly. Mishalem chulin tahir. He should give chulin tahir. That's the din d'Rabbanan. Give him something functional. Shilem chulin tmei. But if he ate chulin, if he ate truma tahir and he paid back chulin, which is tamei, ma, what is the halacha there? He was over on the din d'Rabbanan. We apply a knas. Sumchas oimim b'shura meir. It was inadvertent. B'shoigig, okay, done deal. Tashlum of tashlumin. But b'mezid, pay again. Ain't tashlum of tashlumin. We apply a knas only by mezid. V'chacham oimim echad zeh, whether it was b'shoigig or b'mezid, although tashlum of tashlumin, technically what he paid is proper payment min ha-Torah, but he has to redo it. V'chayzer b'shalom chulin tohern, he has to repay chulin tohern. V'amar v'ach, breid ravika. What's the machlekes about? How far to stretch the knas? How broad of a knas do we apply? Hacha bekansu shoygeg otu mezid ikabenayit. Machlekes remain lechacham is, do we apply a knas even to shoygeg lest it lead to mezid? Do we do that or not? The Rameir savar loy kansu shoygeg otu mezid. According to Rameir, we limit the knas to mezid, even though it's a Rabbanan here, and we're under the impression that according to Rameir, when it comes to the Rabbanan, we try to reinforce it. We extend the knas even to shogig. That's going to be the kasha. V'chacham aimim kansu. Shogig or to mezid, according to Rabbanan, we apply the knas even to shogig. So the question is, if we're dealing with an issa Rabbanan, why does Rameir limit the knas to mezid? Why doesn't he extend it to shogig as well, like he did in our sugya by Reuben approaching Shimon's product and making it aser, metamim, medamim, menasech? We apply the knas even to shogeg. Says the Mahachi Hashta, how do you compare the two things? In the case of medameya, menasech, he's up to no good. Good, he didn't realize it was his friends, he thought it's his own, but he's up to no good. He's not trying to help anybody. So there we say, you know what, we make a knas even b'shogeg. As opposed to the case of the Truma repayment. After all, he has good intentions. He's trying to rectify what he did. And by mistake, he gave something tummy. He's trying to repay for what he did. Anan Nekum Likin says it makes sense for us to get up and penalize him. So here we leave him alone. If it was by accident, we leave it alone. And we're going to have 3 more rayas with the same type of answer. Tashma, here comes another kasha. Dam shenitma. Dam of a carbon, which becomes tummy. Now, Minat Torah, you can go sprinkle the dam on the mizbeach because it sits, the nameplate on the kohen, his forehead addresses that, accommodates that. It makes the carbon okay. Amid Rabbanan, you shouldn't go ahead and proceed with zrika at this point. So dam shenitma v'zarka, he did the zrika in any case. It depends. B'shoigeg, if he did it b'shoigeg hortza, everything's okay, the carbon could be eaten. But if he did it b'mezid on purpose, he did it knowingly, lo yehurtza, he can't eat the carbon. Now this is the Rabbanan. And we're limiting the knas to just mezid. Why? Rameir will respond the same way as he did before. How could you compare? And after all, what's he trying to do there? He's trying to be machaper, bring the carbon. So by accident he did the, dam b'tumah. Anan Nekum says it makes sense for us to get up and to penalize him? Of course not. That's an exception. Tashma is another raya. The same question, the same answer. Hama'aser b'Shabbos, if one separates maser on Shabbos, which he isn't meant to do because it looks like he's fixing it. B'shoigeg yoichel b'mezid lo yoichel. If he did it b'mezid, he shouldn't be eating it. But that's it. We don't apply the knas to shoigeg. Same answer. Hashtag, could you compare? Some gavra l'tekunika mechav, and he's trying to improve on the produce. He's trying to do a mitzvah, to do the truma, the maser. Anan leikum nikna says it makes sense for us to penalize him. Tashma is another kasha. Mat b'kelim b'Shabbos. If a person took a kli which is tummy and immersed it in a mikveh, which of course is not meant to be done on Shabbos, it looks like he's fixing the kli. Looks like he's repairing the kli. If he did it b'shoigeg, okay, done is done. Yishtamish ben, he can use the kli. B'mezid, he did it knowingly, lo yishtamash ben, he can't use it, so the knas is limited only to mezid. Why? He asked the same answer. How could you compare Hasam Gavel Turi Manika Machaven? This fellow is just trying to be Matyrus Kalim, trying to do a good thing. Anan Likim Likim say, why would we penalize him? So bottom line is according to Rabbi Meir, in terms of Isuri de Rabbanon, we apply a knas even by Shoigi, except where he's up to something good, he has good intentions, where we limit the knas only to mezid. But according to Rabbi Yehuda, now let's shift focus. Let's switch tracks. Rabbi Yehuda's shita was the other way around. An Issa Dairaisa needs special chumrah, special reinforcement to keep you far away. And over there, when there's room to penalize, we apply the knas even to shaykik. But when it comes to merely Yisur D'Rabbanan, we limit the knas to mezid. We're going to have a kasha on that as well. V'rami, did Rabbi Yehuda, ad Rabbi Yehuda v'Rabbanan. We're going to find an inconsistency. We're going to find that Rabbi Yehuda elsewhere tells us that when it comes to an Issa D'Rabbanan, we apply the knas even to shaykik. The sanya naflu v'nispatzu. So we all know that minat Torah, chad b'trei batel. You have an item of Isser, gets mixed into two other items which are mutter. One falls into two, it's batel, it becomes mutter. But the Rabbanan tell us like this. When it's something chashiv, an example of which is a goizei perech, Rashi says, some special walnut. In any case, because of its prominence, its chashivas, this specialty item is not batel. But that's only midrabanan. It's not batel midrabanan. So naflu, you have some of these special nuts that are orla, that are asr, that get mixed into other nuts. At this point, we can't be mevatel. It's a davar chashav. V'nisbatzu. Now, when they're intact, when they're whole, they're chashav. But somebody drove over them with a steamroller, crushed them. Nisbatzu. It loses its chashivas. It loses its uniqueness. Now it could be batel. Is it batel in this mix? Whether it was done on purpose or inadvertently, we don't allow the bittul to take place. We make a knas. He was mevatel the isser. Biyodayim. It's not batel. Divrei Meir. Rabbi Yehuda. So Rabbi Yehuda agrees to that as well. Even if he did it by accident, inadvertently, and even though we're dealing with Issa D'Rabbanan only, Rabbi Yehuda extends the knas even to shaykik, and that's going to be the kasha. But before we finish, before we continue, let's just finish the brayse. Rabbi Yosi, Rabbi Shimon Oimrim, well, it depends. B'shaygig, if it was done by mistake, yalu, it can be batel. B'mezid yalu, but mezid we don't allow bittul. Okay, now let's go back to the kasha. This is an example of Issa D'Rabbanan. The b'daraisa chad v'trei batel. In our Torah, one item gets mixed with another two, even if it's a very chashav item, it's batel. But Rabbanan hu the gazer. Rabbanan were the ones who said that when something is unique and chashav, it doesn't allow for bittul. So even if you would have physically crushed the thing and mimavatel it, at most he was over an Issa D'Rabbanan. Rabbi Yehuda extends the knas even to shaygig. That's inconsistent with Rabbi Yehuda in the previous sugya. That by the Rabbanon situations we don't apply a knas to shaygig. Answers the Gemara, here's an exception. Here there's reason to extend the knas even to shaygig for concern that it might be a mask, might be a disguise for mezid. Hasam. You know why Rabbi Yehuda extends the knas even to shaygig? In that case, he might pretend. He might fake and pretend that it was just a mistake, but really it was b'mezid. Now, all the achronim ask, well, that was actually the reason why at all we would extend the knas to shaygig. Shaygig or to mezid, right? Because it might lead to mezid. It might be just pretending that it was a shaygig. It really was mezid. But up until now we say that according to Rabbi Yehuda, we don't say that svara by the Rabbanans. So why would we say it specifically over here? It says the mitzvah is in a beautiful word, a beautiful cheshbon. He says, it's a huge difference. In the case of mitame, midameya, minasach, where he's actually harming his friend's items. So there's a svara to say, there's reason to believe that he's not doing it on purpose. Because if he gets caught, he's going to have to pay big. Why would he take the risk? Why would he do it on purpose and pretend it was just an accident? He might get caught and have to pay for it. So there's a svara, there's good reason to believe that he's really saying the truth. It was just a mistake. There's no reason to make a knas by shogeg otum nezid. But here says the mitzvah esan. He has nothing to lose. He has only one way to go up. Basically, his whole mix of nuts are now usr. Right? So he's thinking to himself, look, I have only to gain. I mean, in his mind. Let me crack the nuts up, which activates the bittul. And I'll pretend that it was, a mistake. At the worst case, they'll catch me planning it and doing it intentionally. What could happen? They'll make it knas and make it usr. It was already usr to begin with. I'm not going to lose anything. So he might make an attempt to pretend, to mask his intentions, do a mazid and pretend that it was shogeg. Therefore, over here, specifically over here, says Rabbi Yehuda, it makes sense to apply the knas, to penalize him, even when he did it b'shogeg, because it could lead to mazid. It can provide a cover-up for mazid. Beautiful word. Okay, one more piece. Now we're going to ask a kasha from one Rabbi Yossi, the Rabbi Yossi that we had a minute ago, who said that if he's mavatal isra l'chatchila fiv, actually facilitates the bittul, right, of the isra. If he did it b'mezid, we don't allow it to go through, it's not bottle. We're going to ask a kasha from that on a different Rabbi Yossi, who seems not to be concerned about a person who's mavatal isra l'chatchila, we allow him to use it. V'ramid Rabbi Yossi the Rabbi Yossi. This nan, we have a mishnah. Netiyah shel arla. A farmer has, many trees, but one of the young fruit trees happens to be arla, or became usr as a result of kilaya kerem. But he lost track of what's what. He lost his records. So now he has hundreds of, saplings. One of them is usr. He can't pick any because the natiyah is something choshev, has prominence, has uniqueness. It's not bottle, while it's still attached to the ground. So everything is usr on account of that natiyah shel arla. But if he went and he picked the fruit, now the fruit is detached. It's no longer choshev, doesn't have the same prominence. So now if he has a big bin, 200 times as much heter as iser, we say it's bottle yalab echad masayim. It's one against 200. It's bottle. Provided he didn't intentionally do this. Even if he intentionally picked it, you can be mevatel. What do you mean? He was mevatel isl chatchila. What happened to the knas? Amazing. We have a teretz. We have an explanation. Chances are a farmer is careful. He keeps precise records of what's what. He doesn't want to run the risk of having one plant kill his whole farm. So typically he keeps records. So this situation where he lost it is an anomaly. It's something unusual. A person wouldn't allow his whole vineyard to be affected by one stray plant, an arlo klei kerem. So chances are it's not something shchiach. And therefore we apply the general formula which says that Chachamim don't make a gzera in something which is uncommon. Right? We all know Milsad le'shchicha le'godz rabbanon. So although this fellow who's mevatel iser biyodayim is deserving of a knas, but this specific case with the one lost tree is something uncommon which doesn't warrant a gzera. Let's just recap the sugya before we continue into the next sugya. When do we apply a knas? If he did it iser b'mezid. What about if he did it b'shogeg? So according to Rabbi Meir, if it's an iser d'Rabbanan or a hezek d'Rabbanan, we want to reinforce it. We apply it even by shogeg. We have some exceptions. All these cases of tzvila, meiser, zrikas dam, tashlumei truma, he was meaning well, and therefore in those cases, we don't apply a knas by shogeg. Rabbi Yehuda goes the other way. By deraisa, we apply a knas in all cases to keep us away from iser deraisa. By the Rabbanon, we do not, except for one example, which is the mevatel iser l'chatchila, where a person could just be masking his true intention, and therefore we apply the knas even b'shogeg. And the Gemara concludes that according to Rabbi Yossi, in this case of the lost tree, something uncommon, we don't apply a knas even by mezid. Continues the Mishnah. Hakeihanam shepiglu b'migdash mezidin chayavim. The kohen takes a carbon belonging to a Yisrael, and he does pigel. He has the wrong intentions, which disqualifies the carbon. If he did it purposely, he's chayiv. He has to compensate the owner for the loss. Tanu Rabbanan, we learned in the price. If one has a laborer, a worker, processing his crop, which is tar, the worker comes running to him. He says, 1 second, by the way, sorry, Taharis, you know, Taharis I was dealing with became tummy. Is he believed? Or another example, a kohen was working on your carbon. He runs to the owner with bad news. You know, the carbon I did for you became pigul. He's believed Naaman. We trust him. But if the worker tells him about it, something he worked on last week, those things became tummy. Then I forgot to tell you, but you should know it's tummy. It was the same thing about the carbon. The carbon I did for you yesterday became pigul. There's no trustworthiness there. Why? What's the difference between the two parts of the brisa? In the first string of cases, we trust him, and not in the second. Amar Abaye, big difference. While he's actually, being involved in the carbon or being involved in taharis, if he was lying, he could just do it now. So he has an ne'emanos. He's trusted. If he says, "Look, it's tummy, sorry," or it's pigul, as opposed to where it's days later, he no longer has access, so he doesn't have an ne'emanos. Rav Amar, I'll tell you the difference. In the last cases, we're speaking going to Ashkeche. He met the worker on Sunday. He didn't say boo. He didn't say a word about what happened. No story. A couple of days later, he meets him again, and suddenly he has a story to tell him. He tells him, that sounds a bit fishy. Sounds like he has an agenda. Perhaps he rubbed him the wrong way. He's trying to get back at him. Otherwise, why did he wait until today? So that's why he's not believed. So as the Gemara, was a story. Reuven turns to Shimon. He says, "Tahari shosisim chabiyim ploini nitmu." The taharis that I dealt with for you last week became tummy. Also, Rabbi Ami. So he comes to Rabbi Ami. Amar lei, he wants to know whether I can trust this worker. Amar lei shur sadin einem. The truth is that, according to the letter of the law, your worker is not believed. Why? Because it's days later. He's no longer involved. He doesn't have the ability to access those fruits, and therefore he doesn't have ne'emanos. Amar fun of Rabbi Asi. So Rabbi Asi challenged Rabbi Ami. He says, Rabbi, ato Eimer Kain? You really believe so, that he's not believed? Hachi Amar Rabbi Yechon told us the name of Rabbi Yesi. Ma Esa, what can I do? Torah believes a person when he speaks these types of things. Where do we find it? Rabbi Yitzchak bar Bisna, I'll give you the precedent in the Torah for this ne'emanos. Kohen Gadol does the avodah in Yom Kippur. So some karbanos he does in full view of the audience, but some he does inside in the heichal, in the Kodesh HaKadoshim. He brings the dam of the karbanos. The Chiyamar pigul. Suppose the kohen comes out and says, "Rabbi, I'm sorry, I made it pigul." Ma'am, we believe him. Right? Pasuk says that pigul is pigul in all circumstances, even if nobody was watching him. How do we know that? In fact, it was pigul. There's nobody there except for the Kohen Gadol. The pasuk says nobody's around when he's doing the avodah inside. So why would we trust him? How do we know it's pigul? Apparently, the Kohen Gadol is believed. And this is even after the fact. We're going to see in a minute. So likewise, in our case, with the fellow who was doing the taharis, even after the fact, he's believed. Asks the Gemara, 1 second. I want to challenge your proof. Maybe we heard the Kohen Gadol saying, I am doing it, with the wrong intention. He actually articulated. He verbalized his bad intentions. So we ourselves heard. We didn't have to believe him. Answers the Gemara, but if not for the fact that he's believed, he himself was believed to say that he made a pigul. Even if we actually heard him say pigul, even then, he wouldn't be believed. Meaning, we wouldn't have to suspect that it's pigul. Maybe he's faking. Maybe he already did the avodah. He did the shchit. He did the zrika. Now he's yelling pigul. Nobody's watching him, right? Nobody knows when he's saying it. Perhaps he's pretending. So the reason why we believe the Kohen Gadol is because we believe him. Nothing more, nothing less. Says Gemara, no. Maybe somebody was peeking through the service entrance of the Heichel, and you could see him doing it, pigel, as he's sprinkling the daf. So we don't have to rely on the Kohen Gadol's word. We saw it ourselves. So there's no raya from there to our halacha. So why is Rabbi Yehuda proving from there? Otherwise, kasha. In fact, this is a kasha we can't really prove. It's seemingly we can't prove from there that a person is neman to say pigel or the taharas are tamei, unless he's actually, physically being involved, and he's saying, look, this thing right here that I can make tamei if I want, I'm telling you, it's already tamei. Then he's believed. So as the Gemara, there was a story, Yehuda Asal Kamei Rabbi Ami. A scribe, a sefer comes to Rabbi Ami. Amrle, he says, look, sorry to say, Sefer Torah shekasafti leploini, the Sefer Torah that I was commissioned to write, for Shimon, I apologize. Askore shelo, the names of Hashem in the Sefer Torah, like kasaftim l'shmon. I didn't have the right intention, l'shem, the shame of Hashem, and it's no good. I acknowledge. Amrle Rabbi Ami asks him, I have one question. Sefer Torah biyadmi. Who's in possession of the Sefer Torah? Do you still have it, or was it given over to the client? Amrle biyad lekech was given over to the customer. Amrle Rabbi Ami tells him, look, guess what? You lost your salary, but the Sefer Torah is kosher. We accept your claim pertaining to you forfeiting your salary. But but we don't trust you regarding the status of the Sefer Torah. Sefer Torah is kosher. Why? Because it's out of your hands. You no longer have control. You no longer have access to the Sefer Torah. So you don't have ne'emanos. Regarding your salary, okay. Haidah baldin. A litigant that acknowledges, we accept his acknowledgement. That's it. Pertaining to dini amamis, chay shemish, but yes. But your deya, kasha of the Sefer Torah remains intact. Amali Rabbi Yirmiyah. So Rabbi Yirmiyah responds to Rabbi Ami. Let's break this down. Nihi, the hifset schar azakaris. I understand full and well that he's undeserving of pay for writing the shemus of Hashem because he did them improperly. But what about the rest of his salary? Schar the Sefer Torah kulei mehifset. Why did he forfeit everything? The rest was written properly. Rabbi Ami responds in 100%. Of course he loses. You know why? Shekol Sefer Torah. She'ein askore shelo ksuvos l'shmon eino yishaveh klum. A Sefer Torah with improperly written shemus Hashem is worthless. So of course he loses everything. No, says the Gemara. This is what we mean to ask. V'li aver alayo kulmus. Let him take his quill, his kulmus, and go over the names of Hashem and do it lishma. Give it another coat of ink. V'lekadshem be mekadesh the names of Hashem. So basically what he means to ask is that it's not all lost. The names of Hashem can be fixed up. So why can't the Sefer at least get paid for the rest of the Sefer Torah? Come on, so who are we going like? Meaning, apparently we're not allowing this remedy. Named like Rabbi Yehuda? Do you mean to say we're not following Rabbi Yehuda? The Snan, as we find in the next brisa, the Sanya Rishayuk Tzorech Lichtav is Hashem. Okay, a Sefer is writing a Sefer Torah. He's about to write Hashem's name. Vayidaber Hashem, Yud Kei Vav Kei. V'neskav Lichtav Yehuda. He mistakenly thinks that he's about to write Yehuda. So he's not being mechaven for Hashem, and as luck would have it, he has a good mazel. V'to v'lo yita by dalas. He left out the dalas, meaning he wrote Yud Kei Vav Kei. So he has the Shem Hashem without kavana. Can he fix that? Yeah. He gives it another coat of ink, l'shem Hashem, and it works. Ma'avrlov kumus u'makach. No, in Hashem and Amubchar, that's not the proper way of doing it. It doesn't work. So apparently we're not going with Rabbi Yehuda, who holds that there's a way to fix up the Shem Hashem, which was not written Lishmon. I feel with him and Rabbi Yehuda, even Rabbi Yehuda would agree in our case that it doesn't work. You know why? Rabbi Yehuda only allows it, if it's just one off. Ela b'chada askari, missing one askari, you can, fix it up. But if it's a recurring phenomenon over and over again, you can't add coats of ink all around the Sefer Torah. B'shum the michzik and manumar looks like it's a spotted Sefer Torah. It's going to have this coat and that coat and this coat and that coat. It doesn't work. So therefore, this Sefer Torah cannot be used, and this Sefer forfeited his entire salary. We have another story. This time the Sefer approaches Rabbi Vo, and he tells him, look, I want to confess. The Sefer Torah that I wrote for this and this person, the actual parchments, I did not process them with the intent of using them for the Sefer Torah. Basically, the Sefer Torah is puzzle. Amalei Rabbi Vo responds, Sefer Torah biyad mi. Who's in possession of the Sefer Torah? You or the client? Amalei biyad lekeach. The client has it already. Amalei, he says, look, you trust it. Metoyich shato neman lahafsit. Secharcha. Since you're trusted in terms of forfeiting your pay, ato neman lahafsit Sefer Torah. We believe you even regarding the status of the Sefer Torah. That's a chiddush. Even though the Sefer Torah is out of your hands, and that was a chiddush here. He's trying to bring out this point. Even though you're not holding it anymore, you're believed because if we believe you for the pay, we believe you for the kashas of the Sefer Torah. But why is it different than the previous case? Rabbi Ami, where we say no, he's not believed regarding the status of the Sefer Torah. Answers the Gemara. You see over there, perhaps he's just making it up. He's pretending he's lying. He's thinking to himself, look, I want to give the guy trouble, so I'm going to pretend that the Sefer Torah wasn't written properly. The Askaris were not written Lishman. He's thinking, okay, I'll give up 10% of my pay because of the improperly written Askaris. He's thinking that the rest of the Sefer Torah is still okay, like Rabbi Yirmiyah's kasha. That you can still fix up the Shemas Hashem, and the Sefer Torah is really still okay, and therefore he'll get paid for most of his job. So it's worth it for him. He'll take a pay cut just to taunt the client. So there, perhaps he's just making it up. It's not really true. As opposed to our case, where he's acknowledging with full force that the Sefer Torah is puzzle because of the parchment, and he's giving up his entire pay. If it wasn't true, he wouldn't say it. Since he's giving up his entire pay, still he insists. He comes and tells us that it's possible. We have good reason to believe that he's speaking the truth, and we take his word for it. Okay, bottom line, let's just recap this Mishnah and Gemara. Mishnah says, Kayhanim who did pigel b'mezid have to pay. And we proceeded with the sugya of ne'emanus. If the person is actually still handling the item, like the kohen holding onto the carbon, which he's still involved in, he can still do the zrika with pigel if he wishes to do so. So he has that biyadai, still accessing the item, so he's believed. Same thing with the worker, with the taharis. If he's still engaged with the item, he's neman regarding its status. And we had the two stories with the Sefer Torah. In both cases, he's believed regarding his forfeiture of salary, but regarding the actual Sefer Torah itself, well, in the first case, we had a machlokes. The second case, it's rings of truth, and therefore he's believed regarding the status of the Sefer Torah as well. All the best to you, Tzlacha Rabbah.